Since the bar is literally in hell and men think that women's only purpose is to find one of them, here is a list of things that you should live for that doesn't involve a man. Oh my god, wow. What? I have taken notes. I've written this down, baddies. Get out your pen and paper because we're not settling for less. Okay. Number one, friendships that feel like family. Female friendships. Oh my god, they're the best thing in the world and there's no men involved. Holy shit. Number two, travel and adventure. Travel and adventure. You could literally go to Greece. You could go anywhere in the world and you don't have to have a man by your side. Yeah. Number three, financial independence, making your own money, building up your own wealth, your own security. Who would have thought? Number four, a career or a dream that you're passionate about. Like, hello, we love building our own goals. We love building a life for ourselves, basically. Number five, fitness and feeling strong in your body. Yes, connecting with your body, going to the gym, going to Pilates with your girls, getting a coffee with your girls after Pilates. Amazing. There's nothing better. Number six, self-love, healing, and self-growth. Amazing. Is there a man involved? No. You usually have to do those things because of a man. Anyways, creative expression, art, beauty, photography. There's literally a plethora. Nature and peace. That shit's fulfilling on its own. Touching some grass. Your pets. I love those comments I always get from men, and it's like, enjoy your cats, love, enjoy your cats. It's like, I actually do enjoy my cats. I love my cats. They're literally my babies.
Are men incapable of love? Like men who leave these comments, like you're gonna be an old cat lady, enjoy being alone with your cat. Cats are cats are lovely. They're cute, and some of them are cuddly and sweet. Why would it be a disrespect to tell a woman to enjoy her life with a pet that she loves? Are they incapable of loving, just loving anyone or anything?
I love dogs too. Like, is that meant to be an insult? Your cats will love you more, your dogs will love you more than any man ever would. Anywho, learning new skills. There's literally millions. There's literally millions. Spirituality and connection to your higher self. Look, this is part one because there is such a long, 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 long list of things that you can live for that don't include a man. Because it is so funny how so many people think that if you focus too much on building up your life, doing things on your own, you're going to miss out. You're missing out. No, you're just threatened by women's independence and the fact that they can live a life filled with love, joy, success, and complete fulfillment. And it doesn't have to involve you. And that's a threat to you. So cry me a goddamn river and stay tuned for part two.
I hate this whole conversation about a man doesn't care about your degrees. You have a degree, but you don't have a man. Listen, if if I had to pick between a degree, a high earning degree, a specialized degree, and a random man, I'm gonna choose that degree. And men talking about how they don't care about a woman's accomplishment, they are, number one, I think a lot of them are lying. And number two, if they do say they don't care what a woman has accomplished, they are stupid. Stupid. Because you might be looking at this woman as, okay, someone that you can have a family with. You're going to get her pregnant, and then you're barely scraping by. Or even if you have a decent job, you can't lose that job because the woman that you have is not able to help you in any way. And yes, many Many families, many couples need two income, like need. It's not that they're being greedy and they want to buy Porsches and they want to live in mansions. Many people need to have a two income household, whether or not children are involved. And you're saying that you don't care what a woman has. You're stupid. Why would you not want to have a woman who is able to build something, able to plan, able to manage finances, able to go to school, learn a skill, able to work to help provide? Even if you want to pay all the bills, even if you want to do all of that thing, her money could be used as fun money. Her money could be used to do investments. Her money could be used to open a trust, to buy a land, something. You're thinking so small. And the reason you're thinking so small is because if a woman is not beneath you as a man who thinks like this, then you cannot feel great. If a woman out earns you, you cannot feel secure, because the only way you feel like you can have an upper hand above a woman is if that woman is just below you economically, socially, all of that at least. I would want for my success to excite my husband, the father of my children, just as much as it excites me. I saw a video of a woman who did a marathon. I think it was she did a marathon after she had a baby. Not sure if it was a marathon or a 4K, but she did a race. And her husband framed her bib. He had her autograph her bib, and he framed it. And you're gonna this any randomizer gonna be like, oh, we don't care about what a woman we don't care about women's accomplishments. We just want to know, oh, can she be submissive? Can she be a wife? Can anyway.
On today's episode of Decentering Men, I say this with respect, but getting chosen by a man is not an accomplishment. Getting engaged, life event, not an accomplishment. Getting married, life event, not an accomplishment. Having a baby, life event, not an accomplishment. And if that triggers you, I want you to sit in the discomfort that that is. Because the reason that your mind automatically goes into defense mode is because you have been sold an idea that those are the biggest things that you could ever accomplish in your life. And up until pretty much like maybe 30 years ago in human history, that is kind of the biggest things that women could do. And right now, our generation, because of our grandmothers, because of our mothers, shout out to them, we no longer are capped there. That glass ceiling was shattered by them because that's all that they could do. And they were like, I will not perpetuate a world in which that's all my daughter can do. So I would encourage you, yet still, you can want those things. You can want engagement and marriage and babies. I'm not saying like, be single forever. Like if that's not what you want, that's fine. However, have goals outside of there. Because I think that the whole concept of women literally not having goals other than being a wife and a mom is not only psychotic, but also it's perpetuating this old ass narrative that those are the only things that are worth women doing at all. And I encourage you to have a goal, even if it's, I want to do 3 pull-ups unassisted. I want to build a business. I want to build a company. I want to run a team. I don't care what it is. Have a goal outside of anything relating to romance, because that is going to be your first act of decentering men.
Someone in the comments said, my master's degree, accomplishment. Someone else said, nothing involving a man is ever an accomplishment. Someone else said, I don't know, girl. I just had a baby and that shit was the hardest thing I've ever done. My body was pushed to its limit. I almost died. While I don't feel like it defines who I am or is more important than any other accomplishments, surviving pregnancy and childbirth is definitely one of my accomplishments, especially with the state of maternal health in the US. Keep in mind, pregnancy and childbirth pushes your body to its limits further than running marathons. So if doing 4 push-ups is an accomplishment, pregnancy and childbirth is a hell of a effing accomplishment. I think this is a different perspective than being a mom, but giving credit to the toll pregnancy takes on your body and what it takes to survive or thrive through that. The creator responded and said, Update: I would call pregnancy and labor a biological accomplishment. Yes, however, becoming a mom is a life event different from an accomplishment. Someone else said, our worth does not decrease if we choose to not or unable to have children. Someone else said, pregnancy is the most tragic event that can happen to a woman, definitely not an accomplishment. I don't know. Um, I'm seeing the comments, back and forth. Someone said my divorce is an accomplishment. Someone else said I think staying single these days is an accomplishment. Wow. Wow. Anyway, I don't know how I feel about that back and forth, or let me know in the comments how you feel about that back and forth about whether or not pregnancy, labor, and delivery is an accomplishment. And what should we consider accomplishments versus life events, or does it even really matter? I really don't think it does. I really don't think we should put what people can or should celebrate into a box. I feel like it's nitpicking in a way. If I want to celebrate labor and delivery, I don't think that someone should come and say, "Oh, that's not an accomplishment." Because like the woman is saying like she almost died having a baby. And if she feels like that is an accomplishment for her, then that should be allowed to be an accomplishment for her. I don't believe in cookie cutter lives.
What does it look like to decenter a man who you are in love with, who you're in a relationship with, and you want to stay in relationship with this man? I had several videos go viral recently where I was talking about the dynamics between men and women, and this was the number one question that I got, especially from the lover girls, the self-proclaimed lover girls. They're like, but it's not in my nature to be a bitch. It's not in my nature to be aloof and mean and just demanding, give me your wallet and wait on me hand and foot. I know, I've got you. So I'm going to share with you a personal example of what I did, how I changed my behavior in a relationship where we were both in love with each other. We had been together for more than a year, wanted to be together, but I decentered him because I was breaking lifelong habits of being a people pleaser in romantic relationships. I was conditioned to believe that in order for a man to love me, I had to earn his love and I had to prove my worth. And this looked like me always trying to be better, right? Me always trying to cook better and clean better and take care of the kids better and get hotter and get skinnier. And a lot of the time, it looked like making his life as easy as possible. Whatever he wanted or whatever I thought he wanted, I would make happen for him. This was exhausting, as you can imagine and have maybe experienced. It left me no time or energy to pour into myself. And the ironic thing is that if you are with a man who's asking you to make his life easier, and not all men are, you can be a people pleaser trying to make a man's life easier when he's not putting those demands on you. But for the men who are putting those demands on you, even when you give them what they want, it's never enough. It is never enough. You will kill yourself trying. They will suck you of your beauty. They will suck you of your energy. They will suck you of your life force. They will suck you of your spirit, and they still will not be happy because the problem was never you in the first place. So please know what I'm about to share with you did not come easily to me. I had to feel sweaty and I had to feel nervous and I had to feel the words get caught in my throat. I had to feel really uncomfortable. I had to feel scared. Oh, if I don't do what he wants, he's not going to love me and he's going to leave me. And I had to be my own safety in that moment and take care of myself rather than try to micromanage his experience of me.
I don't like the idea of shrinking yourself because you are afraid that a man is going to leave you. I have a problem with pretending to be who you are not, pretending that something doesn't hurt, pretending that you are not filled with resentment or anger or anything like that towards a man over a situation or whatever, just because, oh, I'm afraid that if I am too much, if I'm too this, if I'm too that, he's going to leave me. Cooking is not gonna keep him. Cleaning is not gonna keep him. Giving him more than you even give yourself is not going to keep him. The only thing that will keep him is if he wants to be kept. That's it. That is the only thing. And again, people who are givers have to also be paired with people who are givers. You cannot have a giver be paired with a taker, because a lot of them are not even self-aware enough to realize when you are doing too much. They just think, "Oh, she's just is amazing. She's amazing. She cooks, she cleans, she doesn't complain. She lies on her back whenever I want her to. She takes care of the kids. I go out, I just go to work, I come back, I keep my feet up. I don't even actually have to be a dad because she takes care of everything. She goes to school, she does doctor's appointments, she brings them to dance class, swimming class, everything." They're not necessarily looking at that and thinking, "Wow, she's sacrificing so much. Let me pour into her." They're looking at this like, "Wow, she's doing all of this stuff that she should do as a woman." A lot of them think that way. Let me relax as a man. When they talk about wanting peace, that's kind of what peace looks like for them. Peace to a lot of men mean I get to do whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want, on my terms, with no one to ever say anything. And by no one, I mean a woman must never say anything, because I am the king and I come first, and whatever she does should be in service to me and my children.
It's just like I had to get emotionally stronger. Just like if you want to do pull-ups, you go to the gym on day one, you're probably not going to be able to do a pull-up, but you have to go try. You have to strengthen your muscles. We as women have to strengthen our emotional muscles, our emotional resilience. So here's what that looks like. So again, to set the scene, I had been with this man for over a year. We loved each other, committed relationship, happy. And one night, he worked in the restaurant business and I did not. One night he calls me, as he usually does, on his way home, and he's like, "I am so hungry." And I was like, "Oh my word, I made the most delicious soup. It's in the refrigerator." Like, and it was his favorite soup too. I was like, I made your favorite soup. It's in the fridge. And he goes, "Oh my word, I'm so excited to eat it. Will you eat some with me when I get home?" Now, we did not live together at this time. So because of where he was, where he worked, where he lived, it was going to be 2 full hours before he got to my house. And this conversation was happening at 10 o'clock at night. I did not want to wait 2 hours. I didn't want to eat in the middle of the night. I didn't want to be awake in the middle of the night. So I hesitated because it was like a clear no for me. Like, no, I don't need to eat. I don't want to be awake then. What I would have done in the past is internally been like, "No, I don't want to do that." But externally, I've been like, "Sure, babe, yes." And then I would have either made myself stay up for 2 hours, or I would have taken a nap and then gotten up in the middle of the night so that I could sit and keep him company while because that's what he wanted. He's like, "I miss you." And it was innocent, right? "I miss you. I want to spend time with you. I want to see you." But I looked this man dead in the eye and I said, "No, I'm going to be asleep. But the soup is there in the kitchen. Help yourself. I hope you enjoy it." And he was a little bit surprised because I'm also like breaking this people pleasing habit in real time in this relationship. So I'm practicing saying no when no is what I authentically want to say. So he was a little surprised. And then he goes, "Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if I want to eat without you. So maybe I won't have any and I'll just come to bed." In the past, I would have freaked out about that because I would have gone into mommy mode. "Oh, but he's so hungry. And what if he hasn't eaten enough today? And now it's my fault that he's not going to eat because he wants me to be there with him." And I would have backpedaled and be like, "Oh, no. I know you're hungry. I know you want to eat. I'll come eat with you." But now I treat adult men like adult men. They are in charge of feeding themselves. And if they decide not to eat because they don't want to eat, if I'm not there to keep them company, that's on them. So I said, "Okay, love you. I'll see you when you get home. Good night." The right man, even if he is surprised at your no, will become more obsessed with you because of your boundaries, because you put that energy into yourself, because you prioritize your beauty rest and doing what you want. The wrong man will get mad at you and pitch a fit and criticize you, and you cut that man off immediately. Do not let that man waste one more second of your time. Don't defend, don't excuse, don't backpedal. You leave his ass immediately. So you notice I didn't have to be a bitch, whatever that means. I didn't have to be cold. I didn't have to be mean. I just loved and respected myself and said, "I'm going to prioritize what I need and my body is tired." I loved and respected him. Respect looks like, "I'm not going to be your mommy. You can feed yourself if you're hungry." Love and respect for both of us, but always myself first. I got an amazing night of sleep. And every time I show up like that in relationship with a good man and healthy masculine, it brings us closer. And if a man does not like that, if a man is cruel to you when you do nice things for yourself, like putting yourself to bed when you're tired, gone.
Someone in the comments said, I've been with my husband for 25 years now. I didn't realize I had decentered him. I just assumed I was treating him like a grown adult, but that's what younger women would call it. Here are the things I don't do: pack him lunch, pack his suitcase, do his laundry, iron his clothes, buy him gifts to give other people, make him doctor's appointments, nag him about his health, manage his social calendar or relationships with friends or family. I never packed a diaper bag for him. If he were to do a chore incorrectly, like forget a necessary staple at the grocery store, I'd ask him to correct it, and on and on. I assume he is a capable adult and go from there. I absolutely think this is how we should think about men. Men are not stupid, they are not dumb, they are very capable. And the reason that they pretend to be infantilized is because we infantilize them in relationships and their moms infantilize them as children. That is the only reason. It's not because they're incapable. When they go to work, they are fully functioning adults. They're not asking their boss, where can I find the staples? Where can I find the paper? The printer is out of paper. What should I do? They know what to do and they do it. So, no, you don't need to infantilize a man. You do not need to shrink for him. You do not need to exchange your labor for his approval or his love. If he's making you do that, you might be in trouble, girl.
So I worked in a mental health ward for 2 years, females only. And can I just say that most of the women I spoke to were there due to men. Now, I'm not saying this to say men are wicked or evil. This is not one of those videos. However, it is to say women, be wise, okay? Do not allow a man to drive you to the point of insanity. Do not allow a man to gaslight, manipulate, and send you to what feels like an early grave, okay? Know yourself. This is why I always preach before you get into a relationship, know yourself, be grounded in yourself. Something that I wish I was taught, but in life, when you don't know something, at some point you learn it, right? Know yourself completely so that you are whole, so that when you are entering a relationship, you're entering with someone else who is whole. And if they are not whole, you can establish that and you could choose, you make a choice to either stay and help them, even though I don't think that's the right option, or you remain by yourself until you find someone who is whole. Okay? What do I mean by whole? I mean grounded in who you are. I mean, you know who you are, you know your worth, and so someone else can't come and turn you crazy. They can't come and make you lose yourself because you know who you are. And so when you feel like they are trying to shake who you are, when you feel like they're trying to make you lose yourself, you're quick to run, run for your life, run for your life because again, these women, lovely women, sad stories of men who are traumatized. That's another issue, another topic for another day. These are men who protect yourself is the point. Okay?
Someone in the comments said, my neighbor's daughter was a beautiful woman, but she never talked, never made eye contact, and would go off in rages sometimes. One day, my mom asked, what was the issue? Her mom told us she was fine until she caught her husband cheating. She had a nervous breakdown and never recovered. We know all the regular disadvantages of dealing with men, but I'm happy that this woman right here is highlighting the mental health issues that can come up dealing with men and having them affect your mental state so much that you need professional care to get back to yourself. And it is also not said enough that stress is a silent killer. Stress can kill you. And would you really want to die because of a man? No.
If you want to live your life on your own terms as a woman and have little to no regrets in the future, decenter your age, decenter your parents, and decenter men. That's when you start really living for you. You are going to abandon all the timelines that have been created by society and you're going to live for you. By decentering your age, you're not going to limit yourself by your age. Your age is not a restriction. As long as you're here, as long as you're capable, you can do what you want to do. You're not going to rush to reach certain goals. You're not going to rush to reach certain milestones because you realize you still have time. Your time is not limited and you don't treat it as a limit. Decenter your parents if you want to live your life on your own terms and that feels good to you. You should not constantly have to seek their validation and their permission to live a life that's true for you. Your parents have their own visions, they have lived their own life, and many of our parents lived through survival. They cared about safety. And sometimes your dreams are so big that you cannot stay in that safe place, but you have to get out of your comfort zone. And by asking for their permission, they might will say no. You will regret that. You're only going to build resentment because you did not listen to yourself and pursue the dreams that you truly wanted to pursue. And decenter men by not seeking their validation for your existence, whether it's by your value, your worth, or your beauty, your desirability. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be in a romantic relationship or to date, but if you constantly abandon yourself in order to be chosen, you are only going to regret that. Once again, you're going to build resentment within you. So for this year, we are learning how to center ourselves. And decentering doesn't mean to completely remove its existence from your life. Sometimes it's not even possible, but it's about removing it from the pedestal that you used to seek validation from. You're going to learn how to validate yourself and center yourself so you can really live your life on your own terms.
I agree with her and I co sign everything that she said. We cannot keep living our lives being in the boxes of what society says, of what mom and dad says, and what mom and dad wants. We cannot keep living in the box of what a man thinks is desirable or not, because there is no one way. There is no one way. There are men who will come out and say, "Oh, we don't like women who wear makeup." Okay, then go find a woman who doesn't wear makeup and keep quiet. And if you internalize every desire that someone will project onto you, one, you will never get to know yourself. You will never truly be and love and know yourself because you're always chasing the validation and the identity that somebody else creates that they told you that you need to be as a unique person. That is absolutely not the way to live your life. We are all unique. We are individuals. We look different. We sound different. We have different hobbies, different interests, different skills, different talents. You are telling me that we should be smothered by society? The same society that doesn't care about us as individuals. People have a lot of opinions, but when it really comes down to it, they're not going to be there for you. Be grounded in yourself and center yourself. And when you actually center yourself, you can show up as your best self. You can reject things and people and situations and jobs and all of these things that are not good for you because you're grounded in you. Versus, my mom wants me to be X. So I have to be X. I have to spend all of my life studying this, doing that, whatever it is. Or society says, on paper, this is what a good man is. Even though he's emotionally unintelligent, he doesn't really listen to me, but at least he doesn't cheat. At least he's there. At least I have a man. It is time that as a collective of women, we stop doing this. And I know that we're already doing this here, but this is definitely the way forward as women. It is absolutely not a good idea to be at the mercy of anyone, and especially not men.
Men seem to think that this epidemic of women choosing singleness over dysfunctional relationships with men is related to some great awakening. And don't get me wrong, yes, it is. But it's not related to bitterness or women just being done with X, Y, and Z with certain men or women choosing to be petty. y'all don't realize that there are some of us that choose singleness because it is not worth it to add a man into your life until he is making your life better, unless he is making your life better. And any woman with real life experience knows this. See, when you're dealing with a man, you're in relationship with one. Why do y'all think you're any different than when a man is dealing with a woman? You got to check up on that man's emotional health, his mental health. You have to support him. You have to show up for him, making sure that he ate, making sure that he feels balanced, feeding his ego, helping to stroke his ego, all of the bullshit that is really exhausting. And so a woman choosing singleness looks like a woman putting all of that energy and pouring into herself instead of pouring it into someone else or pouring it into a man. That's not a threat. That's not a threat. She actually benefits more when she reserves all of that for herself. So women deciding to decenter men and choose singleness over relationships is women pursuing wholeness instead of fragmenting themselves and giving out pieces, each of those fragments, to men that don't honor and appreciate them. Y'all niggas is not the prize like you think. Men seem to
There are men in the comment section of that video that are absolutely fighting for their lives. There is one man, I'm gonna show. There's one man here who posted this picture and says, "We are not lonely." Yeah, a photo with him and this woman to say that we're not lonely. And then the creator said, "Does she speak English?" And he said, "Obviously, because I can't speak her language and the whole bloody world speaks English." If you have to go overseas to a developing country, because I don't even want to say third world anymore, if you have to go to a developing country to find a wife, okay, and they have this misconception that these women are so different. They just want to serve, they don't really want anything. But you're literally going there and flaunting, "I have money. Ooh, look at me. I have big euro dollars. I have US dollars. I have pounds. I have all of this great life that you can have if you come back home with me." Okay, if you think those women are different, then they're shocked when these women use them to get a green card. Don't be shocked. She paid for that green card with her physical and emotional labor, because a man who feels entitled to a woman's labor can never, ever, ever make a good partner. Never.
The loneliness epidemic is really what we should call it is a decentering of men in relationships and marriage. And this decentering of men and women turning the focus back on ourselves is seen as a threat to a lot of men. Maybe not younger men, maybe not men who were raised in different environments, who saw equal partnerships between their mothers and fathers, but it is threatening for a lot of men, especially like men my age, Gen X and older, who saw their fathers sort of the king of the castles, providers, their mothers stayed home, and then they stepped up and did more in their marriage than their fathers ever did and received all kinds of accolades and awards for that, while their wives were struggling to keep up their head above water with all the myriad of things that they had to do, and never received any awards. So then when these long-term divorces like my own occur, women like me are stepping back and being like, why do I feel like I can breathe for the first time? Why do I feel like I'm relaxed for the first time? And a lot of it is because we started centering ourselves in the divorce, after the divorce. We started seeing ourselves, our own identities again. We started seeing all the ways in which we got lost in these relationships, these marriages. And I didn't intend to center a man in my life. It was never my intention. I was always very much
independent, strongly opinionated. I had a lot of dreams and goals and very ambitious. But when I started having children, I realized I wanted to center them. I thought that was really important to me, to be part of their upbringing in a way that I wanted to be. And I was, lucky enough to be able to do that because my husband was able to provide for us. So things started shifting slowly when I started centering my children. Somehow he kind of got looped in with that. Somehow he got the advantages of being centered too, of having his needs met by somebody. And what that meant is, he could concentrate on work and I could take care of everything. So he never had to worry about who was taking the kids to the doctors, who was making sure the fridge was stocked, who was calling up and getting all the home repairs done. He could just focus on him and his needs. And so this what's happening now is when women have seen how much they decentered themselves and they've awakened from that, they don't really want to go back. Like, I don't really want to go back to centering a man in my life. And I'm being told, like, well, you're mature now and you've gone through things and you have experience. You could have a man in your life and you could have that partnership if you want it. And I don't really quite trust that yet because I haven't seen men, especially men my age, doing the work.
I think a lot of men take for granted the privilege that it is to have a woman take care of everything in the house, take care of him, take care of children, finding time to take care of herself. I think a lot of men don't realize what it takes. In the past, maybe month or so, I've heard two different men, and I don't really listen to men, okay? But I've heard two different men say that motherhood is easy, being a stay at home mom is easy, and women need to stop making it look so difficult. These are the same men who have stay at home wives. So you devalue what the woman does, but yet you benefit from it. You profit from it so much so that you can go off to work, take up your little briefcase in the morning, kiss your wife goodbye, go off to work and work for X amount of hours, and then you're off the clock. And then you come home and you continue to be off the clock because that's just her work. Like that's her stuff. And they don't even consider it work. They just think that's just something that a woman does. It's built in, like a woman. Um, it reminds me, if you watch Bourbon Bougie's channel, she calls it a wife appliance. Like a man just thinks that a wife is just this appliance that just does chores, does cooking, cleaning, baby making, pleasuring, and that's it. Outside of that, they do not actually value what a woman brings.
I haven't seen them asking these questions about, like, what happens when I decenter myself for a change? What happens when I put myself in an equitable partnership? What it happens when I can provide emotional support to somebody? Because right now, I don't think that's my job. So if I'm lonely and if I'm not, attracting women, or women are saying my age are saying we don't need you, what does that say about me? So I don't trust that. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen many men my age saying, I'm really going through an awakening. I'm really seeing how, like, it's been unfair. Like, I need to step up. I really think it's unfair that, like, I expect so much of my partner, and yet then I devalue her contribution because I don't actually value mental, emotional, spiritual labor, but yet I can't live without it. So that's the question. Men are complaining about this loneliness epidemic because they do need that part of themselves fulfilled, those mental, emotional, spiritual needs. But a lot of men, especially men my age, Gen X, have not been trained to do that on their own. And I was in a position of raising two children and feeling like that was my full-time job, was not to just make sure they were fed and housed and clothed. My real job was to make sure that they were growing mentally, emotionally, spiritually into these people who could take care of themselves on mental, emotional, and spiritual levels once they were gone from the house. And the interesting thing is, as I saw my children grow and evolve, and they were, like, taking in these things that I was doing for them, and then, like, kind of reflecting them back to me, I didn't see the man I was married to growing and evolving, even though I was giving him the same things, even though I was mentally, emotionally, spiritually supporting him in the relationship and centering him. I didn't actually see growth from him. In fact, it kind of kept him maybe stagnant and stuck. I'm not blaming myself for him staying stagnant and stuck because that was his choice, but it actually forced me into more growth, more growth, more growth. And then the divorce accelerated that growth and accelerated the centering of me. And I just think that what men should know is once a woman centers herself, I don't think there's any going back. I don't think there's any going back.
There isn't. And it reminds me of something that I've heard many times, that patriarchy stifles the actual growth of men. They don't grow up because they are told and they are taught that a woman should take care of them. All they have to do to be valuable is have a job. And I hope they're looking around. Women have jobs now too, and that's why they they are throwing a fit that women don't want to have kids, women don't want to get married, because women do not need to. Our grandmothers and great grandmothers were forced into marriages because of economic reasons. Thankfully, thankfully, we are not in the same position. We can actually marry for love. I don't think we should be marrying for just love, but for argument's sake, we can marry for love and connection, and because we feel compatible, and because, this is someone you truly want to be with, versus having to marry just because you need to be financially dependent on someone. And is actually in the best interest of men, because a lot of men nowadays, today's society, cannot sustain a family by himself. So you couldn't even compete in your grandfather's time because you can't sustain a family. So you also would be left without children, or you would be in poverty. Which is a better option? Having a woman with you because she truly wants to, she cares for you, she loves you, she sees a future with you, and you guys can build something together, or seeing a woman, picking her out and saying, yes, I want that one, and she needs to be submissive to me, and she needs to have my baby and take care of me and cook and do all of these things while I go out, work for X hours and come home, and that's it. It's laziness.
And if you want to have a relationship with a woman who has centered herself, then you're going to have to step up. You're going to have to step up and meet her where she is, not where you are. But she also doesn't want to be where you are, and she doesn't want to raise you, and she doesn't want to challenge you, and she doesn't want to wait around for you to grow. So you're going to have to do some of this work on your own. And then when you're ready to meet her, that's when you should go out and look for her.
I saw another creator say you need to just be busy and be self-centered. And when I tell you, that is so true. So one of my homegirls was asking me the other day how I have so many guys chasing after me. I'm always getting asked out on dates. I have them buying me things. And it's because I do not care about them. I care about myself. I think the problem is a lot of women tend to be male-centered. And when you're male-centered, it's never going to work out for you. It's literally the law of attraction. I promise you, once you start just focusing on yourself and stop worrying about men all day, men, everything that's meant for you will be attracted to you. You guys need to learn how to be self-centered, be busy, keep up with yourself. Every day I'm busy doing something. I'm over here working content, then earlier I was doing meetings and emails, and then later on I'm gonna hang out with my mom, and then I have dinner plans. Like, my life and my world revolves around me. I don't know what kind of reverse psychology it was, but I promise y'all, as soon as I said, okay, look, I'm done with men, I'm just gonna focus on myself and just do me, that's when they all started chasing me. To this day, I still don't care. I'm literally so focused on myself right now that a man is the last thing that's on my mind. And for some reason, the fact that I do not want men in my life, it makes them want me more, if that makes sense. Meanwhile, I know people that want a man, they want a boyfriend, they're out there trying to get a guy, they're going out, and everything about them is so male-centered, and then they don't get the attention that they want. This is your reminder to put yourself first. Men put themselves first. I promise you, if they want to go and chill with their homeboys, they're gonna do that. When they gotta work, they're gonna do that. If they're working on business calls and doing that, they're not first worried about a woman. They're focused on themselves. Anything that's meant for you is going to align, but I really want women to start focusing on themselves, to start doing things for them, and to stop being so male-centered. And I know what a lot of y'all are gonna say. y'all gonna say, oh, Edna comes on here and she's talking about a guy every day, or I talk about my ex. Yeah, I do that because I make money on this app. This is a business for me. Talking about this stuff makes me money. But in real life, I'm not here worried about any type of man. And y'all can ask them. It's really Edna all day, every day. Like, I'm just so focused on myself that it just works for me. And when you focus on yourself and you put yourself first, I promise you, anything that's meant for you will attract you.
If you're just sitting by the phone waiting for a man to call you, to text you, so that you have something going on with your life, you are in danger. You need to be so busy, focused on yourself, your goals, your dreams, your hobbies, all of that, your friendships, all of that. That if a man is going to get your attention, he's going to have to be exceptional by your standards. And if it takes a WYD text to get you giddy, you are in danger.
When I talk about centering myself as a woman, it's really me trying to get over the ways in which I was programmed in our society, in my family, in my community, in my church, to put everyone else's needs first. And realizing over decades of time that that really wasn't serving me. And although I felt I was coming from a place of strength by like serving other people first, it really put me in a place of weakness. And that's why they always say you have to put your own oxygen mask on first, right? You can't save somebody if you're drowning. And right after, I gave birth and or I had, two young children, I did go into therapy because I did feel like I was drowning. I didn't know how to function because I was trying to put everyone else first, and yet it just felt like impossible. So the centering of self is really important. And it took me to 58 years old to finally be like, that's it. I'm reclaiming myself and I'm putting myself first. And it feels really empowering and strong because I no longer feel like incomplete or fractured. So I'm not trying to get validation or approval from anybody. And that means I can really stand from a place, a healthy place, where I can then engage emotionally, mentally, and spiritually with people from a healthy place. And what I'm saying is, men, by and large, are saying that they're struggling right now because women are shifting and changing. And a lot of women like me are saying we're not necessarily looking for a man. We're kind of happier without a man. And that's us healing our, nervous systems and realizing we did not know how to do relationships, right? We were coming from a place of trying to heal ourselves from within the relationship. So that's where we are. But we understand men need to heal too. And I want men to heal. I think it's very important for men to heal. And the difference is that women are looking inward and saying, what are the things that we need to heal about ourselves? How do we need to find our own strength? And part of that is making yourself whole by meeting all of your own needs. So we talk about happiness studies, they call it the SPIRE model, where our needs are spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional. And what we were taught, at least I think Gen X were taught, were that I'll do meet some of my needs and I'll find a man who will complement me and meet some of my needs. And I think a lot of men are still in that mindset of like, well, all I have are very simple needs. They're very, very simple. I have these financial and physical needs. And as long as those are taken care of, I'm fine. And as long as there's a woman in my life to take care of everything else, I'm fine. But that's no longer flying, is what we're saying. Is no longer flying because we're adults, we're grown people. We have to mature into our own fullness. And whether you're a man or a woman, this applies to you. It's just that women are getting there faster. Women are demanding it faster. Women are seeing that, fracturing ourselves into these pieces are not helping us, and it depleted us, and it did not drive healthy marriages or healthy relationships. So we'd rather step back and heal on our own before we dive back in. We can't ask something from somebody that we're not willing to give to ourselves. That's where we are. So I absolutely hope men are set on the same path. I think the strongest thing you can do, and I tell a lot of my male friends who are going through divorce, like, why are you jumping back into a relationship right away? What are you hoping to get from somebody else that you can't get from yourself right now? Like, you're coming out of this long-term relationship or marriage. Why not take a couple months, a couple years to really go inward and find yourself? And I get it. A lot of them are like, I don't want to be alone. I'm afraid to be alone. I'm getting older. I don't want to be alone. That is a valid concern, people. But I think what a lot of women are seeing, like, if you spend some time alone with yourself, you'll see how great it is. And you'll also see how your community shows up, and you'll build other relationships stronger because now you're not focusing just on this one person in your life. You can focus on many people in your life. You can focus on yourself, and you will not necessarily be as alone as you think. So this journey of centering yourself doesn't mean you have to be alone. And it just means you'll be full, whole, complete, and fuller on your own, so that when you go out to look for a partner, you'll find someone who is at the same level as you, and it will be a healthy, functional relationship. When I talk about
I know a man I've known him for about 15 years now. And he has always gone from relationship to relationship to relationship, and his relationships have always overlapped. He's never been single. He's never been alone. There always has to be another woman. And then I said to him one of the last times, like, why are you doing this? Can you not be alone? Do you know that it's good to be alone? Take the time to be by yourself. I'm not saying that women are not like that. Don't even try that stuff in the comments. Just don't. Okay? But if as a man you have never been single, you have always had a woman to take care of you. It means that you are codependent in one of the worst ways possible because you always want to have a human being, a woman who is there for the main purpose of serving your needs, not because you love her, you want to have a family with her, you want to build a life with her, you both make each other's lives better. No, you want a woman because you're afraid of being alone and you want someone to fulfill your needs. That is pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. But go ahead and let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you next time.